R&B singer Angie Stone has died in a car crash. We're told she had just finished a concert in Mobile, Alabama Friday, was heading to Atlanta when the van she was riding in crashed.
From the very first moment news broke about Angie Stone's passing, whispers filled the air. Some folks simply accepted it as a dreadful accident, while others were quick to ask, could there be more to the story than meets the eye? This isn't the first time an artist with hidden battles met a sudden tragic end, and it certainly won't be the last. But in Angie's case, those who followed her career and personal life believe something far more unsettling was at play. After all, Angie Stone was on the verge of exposing secrets about certain individuals in the music industry, powerful people who prefer their dealings to remain hidden. The deeper you dig, the more questions arise, and by the end, you might find yourself wondering what truly happened behind the scenes.
And for those of you that don't understand that Miss Angie Stone climbed out the van on her own, she was instructed to sit down on the side of the road.
Yet before we unravel the theories, we have to trace how Angie, a bright and determined soul, rose to prominence in an industry known to reward a select few and devour the rest. Wondering if the rumors about her final days are just the tip of the iceberg? Keep watching, because the first revelations are only the beginning. Angie Stone's musical journey started in a world bound by faith and shaped by gospel choirs. Born on December 18, 1961, she grew up in Columbia, South Carolina, in a household where spirituality and music flowed in equal measure. Her parents exposed her to church hymns from an early age, turning Sunday services into a stage where she could nurture a powerful, soulful voice.
She was also a member of the female hip-hop trio The Sequence. Angie Stone was 63 years old.
Angie's father was deeply involved in a local gospel quartet, and he would bring her along to witness riveting performances by famed groups like the Singing Angels and the Gospel Keynotes. Observing those exhilarating shows only cemented her passion. There's something special about a child standing in the front row, wide-eyed, watching legends command the room through song. And that was Angie. She didn't realize it then, but her presence in church choirs and gospel events laid the groundwork for a future that would reshape entire genres.
It's still not clear why they crashed or how the other people in the van are doing. The Grammy-nominated artist was known for songs like Wish I Didn't Miss You and No More Rain.
But even early on, Angie felt the tug of musical boundaries. Little did she know that crossing them would lead to some astonishing triumphs and heartbreaking betrayals alike. By the time she was 16, Angie stepped boldly into the evolving world of hip-hop. Alongside Cheryl the Pearl Cook and Gwendolyn Blondie Chisholm, she formed The Sequence.
By a white person, and then she was ran over by a white person.
Widely recognized as one of the earliest all-female hip-hop groups. Their track Funk You Up was a vibrant, catchy anthem that found its way into Dr. Dre's work and later influenced major hits like Uptown Funk. Yet, The Sequence's contributions to music often went uncredited, leaving them locked in battles over compensation and acknowledgement. Royalty checks that should have arrived never did. Publishing rights vanished into someone else's bank account.
I don't know what they might do to keep from paying me all the money they owe me. So I am truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time, because if you only knew how much money.
For Angie, it was her first taste of how the industry doesn't always celebrate pioneers. More often, it forgets them. While she was proud of her group's achievements, the abrupt realization that record labels and big-time producers rarely credited or compensated them fairly left a sour aftertaste. If you think these first conflicts taught Angie Stone to always stay on guard, wait until you hear how the same pattern of exploitation followed her into the biggest arenas of music.
They have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me. Monies that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made.
Her transition to the neo-soul movement only amplified the complexities she faced. Angie emerged as a critical figure in an era that gave us artists like Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, and countless others who fused R&B traditions with fresh, introspective lyrics. But Angie's gifts weren't limited to just her warm, velvety vocals. She had a keen ear for arrangement and production, talents that drew the attention of legendary musicians. Prince noticed it. Lenny Kravitz noticed it. So did a young D'Angelo, who would come to rely on Angie's creative input for several of his landmark projects.
Soul singer Angie Stone has died following a car crash. She was on the way to Atlanta following a performance.
She helped shape his distinctive sound, guiding vocal arrangements on albums like Brown Sugar and Voodoo, which remain essential listening for any neo-soul fan. Yet her role, while crucial, was often minimized. In a business where public image can overshadow the backroom masterminds, Angie found herself overshadowed by male collaborators who either hesitated or flat out refused to share the spotlight. But if you think downplaying her contributions was the worst setback she suffered, just hold that thought, because her collisions with other iconic performers were about to raise serious questions of loyalty and trust.
Supposedly. But there are key people that have been driving the ships. And what they've been doing is improperly representing me.
Beyond D'Angelo, Angie's path intersected with other high-profile names in ways that would leave her feeling at times deeply betrayed. She once spoke candidly about how Mary J. Blige released a track suspiciously similar to one Angie had been working on, renaming it from Everyday and D to a new title without properly crediting her. And there was Jill Scott, or more precisely Jill's record label, that allegedly took cues from Angie's style, vocals, and stage presence to mold Jill's public image. While both Angie and Jill excelled in their art, the notion that executives were dissecting Angie's appearance, her wardrobe, and even her persona to replicate a new star was unsettling. Imagine tirelessly developing your own unique sound and vibe, only to see someone else launch into stardom using fragments of your blueprint. By that point, Angie Stone began to suspect that nearly everyone around her was looking out for number one, while she ended up somewhere near the bottom of her own priority list. Yet these frustrations only scratched the surface of the storms brewing in the background, because as Angie's career advanced, she would discover a level of mismanagement that ran deeper than any personal rivalry.
See, I'm not an attorney. I don't know everything. What I learned how to do was go out, work hard, get paid, come home, pay my bills, take care of my family.
Management is supposed to be the cornerstone of an artist's success, ensuring deals are negotiated fairly, opportunities are seized, and finances are tracked. But Angie recalled discovering that her own managers let major roles slip through her fingers. One of the most notable mischances was a part in the #1 Ladies Detective Agency, a project later taken by Jill Scott. Whether it was negligence or intentional sabotage, Angie's team never locked down the contract, costing her a potential game-changing moment in her career. Over time, she began to see the pattern. She would get out on stage, record in studio after studio, pour her soul into the process, and watch everyone else collect the checks. It wasn't just about the money, though the money matters, especially for a single mother working non-stop. It was also about the respect, the credit, and the chance to own her
Details
achievement.
emerged following the fatal crash that has claimed the life of Grammy-nominated R&B artist Angie Stone.
Each disappointment fueled her determination to stand up for herself, but also chipped away at the trust she had in the system. Hold on though, if you think she planned to silently accept these losses, you're in for a surprise. Angie Stone was about to confront some of the biggest names in the music world, and the timing of it all makes her final story even more haunting. In the last phase of her life, Angie grew more vocal about her intention to take legal action over unpaid royalties. She had decades of experience in the industry and, by her estimation, a mountain of evidence showing how her finances were consistently mishandled. Universal Music Group, UMG, took center stage in her grievances. According to Angie, millions of dollars in royalties and publishing rights had slipped through her fingers, absorbed by labels and middlemen who banked on her not having the legal knowledge or the energy to fight them. She opened up about how she had entrusted managers, lawyers, and industry friends to guard her interests, only to find out they had signed away her rights or failed to register her work altogether. Whenever she tried to trace a missing check, someone would point fingers at someone else, leading her on a vicious cycle with no clear resolution.
Improperly stealing from me, taking things in their own hand, changing and switching lanes because they knew I didn't know that part.
Angie was done staying quiet though. In her final public messages, she called out industry injustice, insisting she was ready to go to court and reclaim what was rightfully hers. Now, if you suspect that speaking out against powerful entities can spark fierce backlash, you're absolutely thinking in the right direction, and the bizarre circumstances of her fatal accident have only deepened the mystery. Official reports say Angie Stone lost her life in a car accident where she was the only casualty. While tragedy can strike anyone at any time, many of her fans and close peers couldn't help but be skeptical. How could an accident this devastating single out just one individual, especially someone who, only weeks prior, hinted that high-profile figures were threatened by her plans to expose them? Even more chilling are rumors suggesting Angie might have been gone before the crash occurred, rendering the collision scene a possible cover-up. These speculations might sound extreme to some, but anyone familiar with the music industry's darker rumors knows that intimidation tactics, hush money, and worse have circulated in countless stories. Jaguar Wright, a performer known for exposing alleged hidden deals and cover-ups, openly suggested that Angie's passing was no random tragedy. She implied that certain influences may have orchestrated events to silence her, an accusation sure to raise eyebrows but impossible to dismiss outright given the track record of accidents among artists who challenge the status quo. But this isn't just about Angie alone. Her story reverberates across the experiences of so many who dared to speak out, leaving us to wonder who benefits when critics and whistleblowers are conveniently removed from the picture. It's not difficult to find parallels in other high-profile incidents. Individuals in show business, from rap legends to pop icons, sometimes meet untimely ends or abrupt downfalls right as they begin to question their contracts, royalties, or label dealings. Talk to any industry veteran off the record, and you might hear tales of intimidation, abrupt changes in behavior, or puzzling management decisions that preceded an artist's downfall. For Angie, the key to understanding why her abrupt passing caused such a stir lies in her final declarations. She was poised to rock the boat, to name names, and to retrieve what she'd been denied for years. While the official narrative is that she simply lost control behind the wheel, skeptics see a coincidence that's far too convenient. They ask, did Angie Stone, like others before her, become a threat that needed to be neutralized? Or was this, in the end, a genuine accident unfairly mired in conspiracy theories? The truth is, we don't have all the answers. But even that uncertainty keeps the intrigue alive, pushing people to revisit her old interviews, her heartfelt social media posts, and the powerful commentary left behind by those close to her. And if Angie's tale raises questions about how far the industry might go to guard its secrets, just wait until you hear about the final detail that could change how you view the entire tragedy. In the wake of Angie's death, Jaguar Wright came forward with bold claims. She pointed to a long-standing pattern of high-stakes corporate maneuvering whenever an artist tries to collect unpaid royalties or break free from exploitative contracts. She cited other examples, including artists who fought for financial independence only to face bizarre ends soon afterward. To some, Jaguar's statements might sound like pure conjecture, but to those who've seen enough career disruptions and shocking accidents, they carry a ring of truth. After all, how many times have we seen disputes over ownership or publishing rights quietly sealed behind closed-door settlements? How many times have we witnessed personal tragedies that arrive at the most suspicious moments, conveniently redirecting public attention and halting a damaging legal battle in its tracks? Jaguar claimed there was a broader conspiracy to keep Angie's revelations under wraps, that people up the chain of command orchestrated the perfect storm to divert scrutiny away from themselves. Each time these accusations appear online, they're met with skepticism, pushback, and attempts to discredit the whistleblower. But the more people pick apart the final few weeks of Angie Stone's life, the more uneasy coincidences they seem to uncover. Now that you've heard the allegations, the backstory, and the unanswered questions, you might be wondering if any form of justice is even possible. What if the real truth about Angie's final days is more alarming than the rumors themselves? In the end, Angie Stone's legacy is more than just the soulful albums and the pivotal role she played in shaping genres. It's also a cautionary tale about how quickly voices can be stifled. Even in life, she experienced the blunt force of an industry that was never designed to protect her. She contributed her heart and soul to collaborations, sometimes quietly, sometimes in the background, trusting professionals to secure her interests. Yet each step forward often revealed more betrayals, missing royalties, unacknowledged credits, overshadowed achievements. And in her final stretch of determination, just as she seemed prepared to unmask the networks profiting from her talent, her life ended in a sudden crash, leaving behind a swirl of conflicting reports and simmering suspicions. Whether her passing was a tragic accident or something far more orchestrated, it's clear that her story speaks to every independent artist fighting for fair treatment. It's a reminder that the business side of music can be as cutthroat as any corporate empire, and that those who dare to challenge powerful gatekeepers sometimes pay a harrowing price. Here's the critical question Angie Stone's ordeal forces us to confront. How many more unalived artists, how many more accidents, and how many more damning cover-ups must occur before the full truth emerges? Maybe we'll never see an admission from certain executives or managers. Perhaps official files will remain sealed, and the rumors will continue thriving in the shadows. But the void left by Angie's passing still resonates, prompting fans, friends, and even casual observers to wonder what she might have revealed had she been granted the chance to continue her fight. Was she on the cusp of unveiling an industry-wide practice that devours royalties and discards the very creators who sustain the business? Or were her claims exaggerated by frustration, tragically ending in a genuine misfortune behind the wheel? The fact that we may never know for sure is exactly what keeps the story alive, fueling endless speculation and haunting a community that craves answers. At the heart of it all is a talented woman whose voice reached millions, and whose courage nearly dismantled the walls surrounding music's elite. Wherever the truth lies, Angie Stone's tale forces us to look closer at the intricate web of contracts, label politics, and unspoken rules that define success in show business. This environment can grant unimaginable heights to some, while sidelining or endangering those who pry into the wrong ledgers. As fans, we're left to piece together a puzzle with missing parts, but that puzzle still forms an image of a relentless, gifted artist who refused to bow to intimidation. Maybe her efforts will inspire the next generation to keep better tabs on their finances, to question suspicious deals, and to stand firm against intimidation tactics. In the meantime, all we can do is keep Angie's memory alive by revisiting her remarkable contributions, musical achievements that deserved far more recognition in her lifetime, and remain vigilant each time a performer steps forward with similar claims. The pattern is impossible to ignore, and so is the echo of Angie Stone's legacy. So perhaps that final, lingering lesson is as much about us, the listeners, the supporters, the ones who purchase music and fill seats at concerts, as it is about her. Without accountability, cycles of exploitation repeat. Without questions, contradictory official accounts pass unchallenged. And without remembering Angie Stone's resolve, we risk letting the music industry's hidden practices slide back into darkness. If there's any justice to be found, it might start with pushing for transparency, standing alongside artists when they speak up, and recognizing when corporate powers scramble to silence them. Angie never got to finish her fight, but her courage in pushing for answers lives on in every discussion, every speculation, and every vow by another artist to do better. In a world that moves at a dizzying pace, perhaps the biggest tribute we can offer is to keep this story alive and unresolved, so that someday the truth might finally see the light of day. And as you close this chapter, take a moment to wonder, if an icon like Angie Stone could be so vulnerable, how many other voices, strong yet unprotected, are just one ominous step away from a tragic headline of their own?